Storyline blocks are a great way to add custom interactions to your Rise 360 courses. To get started, we need to jump over to Storyline 360 and publish our project to Review 360. So I'm here in Storyline 360, and I have this drag and drop interaction that I want to insert into my Rise course. Before I can insert Storyline into Rise, I need to publish my Storyline interaction to Review 360. So I'll go up to the ribbon and click Publish. With the first tab selected for Review 360, I'm going to create a new item since this one doesn't already exist, and click Publish. Storyline's going to run through the publishing process, and when it finishes, it'll upload my interaction to Review. Okay, cool. That's it for Storyline. I'm going to go ahead and close out of the Publish window and jump back into Rise. So I'm here in Rise in the Effects of Work-Related Stress lesson, and I want to add that Storyline interaction right after this first text block. So click the Insert Block icon, and from the block library, choose Interactive, and then just scroll all the way down, and you'll see Storyline. There it is. Click it. And go ahead and click back in the lesson to close the block library, and then click Browse Review 360 to select the Storyline interaction we want to add. There it is, right there at the top. Okay, cool. My Storyline interaction is now embedded in my Rise course, and you can see it's actually a live interaction, so we can test it right here directly from within the Edit view in Rise. Okay, there's a couple things we can do with our Storyline block. Click Edit in the top left corner, and you can see the interaction thumbnail right here under Content. Now, if I ever needed to swap out the current interaction with a different one, I'd click Change, and I could find a new interaction to insert. Now, I like the one I have, so I'm going to click back into the Content settings. Now, by default, Storyline is displaying at roughly 1/2 the width of the lesson page, but we can easily change that to a larger width. So over here under the Settings tab, you have the option for Storyline width, and you can control small, medium, or even full width, so it displays at the full width of your lesson. I'm going to keep it set to small for this example, but just know that you have those options to make that change. The rest of the settings should look familiar for controlling the padding on the top and the bottom, as well as the background color. And let's go ahead and just test our interaction. So preview the lesson. Okay, so here's the interaction perfectly embedded in our lesson. You can see we can test it, submit to get the feedback, continue, and try it again. I can even preview it in different modes to see how the interaction will perform. There it is. Again, at the smaller size, if I'd had full screen, it would have displayed fully across the lesson. Okay, let's say this is a really important interaction, and we wanted to require learners to complete the activity before moving forward in our course. That's really easy to do with the Continue block. We just need to make a quick change to our Storyline file. So I'm going to go ahead and close the preview, and I need to jump back into Storyline. By default, Storyline blocks are marked as complete as soon as the block loads. But in this case, I want to wait for the learner to complete the interaction before letting them move forward in the course. Now, if you look up here under the Design tab, you can see that the attempts has set to 1. And that's okay for this interaction. I just want the learners to complete the interaction before moving on in the Rise course. So in this case, it makes sense to add the course completion trigger to the Submit button. It won't matter whether the learners answer correctly or incorrectly, because I'll mark the interaction as complete when they click Submit. So go over to the Triggers panel, and the new trigger is, for the action, we want to select Complete Course. For status, choose the status you want to send to your LMS, and then choose when it should happen. So when user clicks the Submit button. Okay, go ahead and click OK. And again, as soon as they click Submit, our interaction will be marked as complete. That's it. Just republish your project back to Review. Okay, great. Let's click Close and jump back into Rise. Now, since we made changes to our Storyline project, we do need to re-add the project in Rise. So I'm going to scroll down to the Storyline block and click Edit. And this is a good example of where we want to use the Change option. So we're going to click Change and then just reselect the same interaction. Now everything looks the same, but only now the course completion trigger has been added. Okay, cool. I'm going to click back in my lesson to close the block library. Next, let's add a continue block to lock the remaining blocks in our lesson until the learner completes the storyline interaction. Click the insert block icon and choose divider, and we'll choose the very first one, the continue. Go ahead and click that. And I'm going to click back into my lesson, and we will choose edit to look at the settings here. Now notice that the default setting for completion type is set to none, or always show that button. What we want to choose is complete the block directly above. Okay, and notice that back here in our lesson, if I close that out, we now have a disabled state for this button along with a lock icon. So Rise is now waiting for us to complete the storyline interaction before enabling the continue button so learners can proceed through the course. Let's preview the lesson one more time to see how that works. So here we are. If I scroll all the way down, notice that we have the continue button disabled. So I can go ahead and go through my interaction. Doesn't really matter whether I get it correct or incorrect. I click submit, get my feedback, and I now have an enabled continue button that'll let me move through the rest of my lesson. And that's how easy it is to add and track storyline interactions in your Rise 360 courses.